Yeah, a little true story before I get to where I'm going here in the morning. I was going to say, there's some people who say, methamphetamine it can't kill you. It doesn't kill people for real, for real. It's fucking life, for real, for real. And I can tell you that personally and truthfully from my own story, it can. It almost has me many a time, And one of the things I'd like to own and confess up, fess up to is, there's a known story about me on the reservation. When I was on that shit and flipping out a bit. I went to jail for just a little bit, and I got out on bail or whatever, and I had a second degree assault that I had caught. And the reason why I caught that second degree assault pretty much is because I pulled Miskwii. If people remember Miskwii, is she is my Bowie knife. She was my Bowie knife that I carried with me everywhere, and she was a very sacred thing to me, and she saved me many a time, but she almost damned me too, and that's one of the times, she almost damned me, and I had to get rid of her my own way, when I was up there. But for real, I remember one day I was high, and I was in my cabin that I was renting out, and it was in a little community of people, with other cabins and stuff, and they were all dope heads just like me and shit. And I had thought this particular dopehead, that I didn't even know, who wasn't supposed to be there in that community. He's kind of a homeless person wandering around cabin to cabin, just smoking up where he could, or whatever. But I didn't pay no attention to him. I was an outcast and I was a loner always. I'm always a little bit different, and I could get extremely aggressive on methamphetamine. Other fuckers do this shit, I fucking do this shit. And it was known. It ain't like me for that shit. So one day, I thought that I had put my phone on my Yukon, Makade Miguan, my black feather, I called her, my black Yukon. And I was walking back through my garage, and going back into the kitchen, and I heard some footsteps, and I heard, something. So I turned around, and there was that homeless guy, who was in the village, the cabin village out in Wildwood. He was near my garage, and he hurried up and looked at me, and he rushed towards me and gave me a lighter for no reason and took off. So I thought, it was kind of strange. And remember, I'm tweaking too, because he didn't say anything to me. He just gave me a lighter, and what's he doing on my property? So I go over there to investigate where he was, near my Yukon, Macadamia Guan. And I noticed, that my phone was fucking missing off the top of the truck where I thought I just put it. So I started, yelling at him, hey, where's my fucking phone, all this shit. He's like, I ain't got your phone. So I called the police. I did. And I remember I was tweaking and shit. So I called the police, and, I said, this fucker, you took my fucking phone. I want you out here. He's not supposed to be out here. I'm tired of these people breaking into my house, because I had made reports they were breaking into my house, all this bullshit before. So as, the police are on their way and shit, this guy's running cabin to cabin saying, Pack Redfeather, he's snitching, he's telling, bullshit. So he came out of this cabin, and he said, if you lie on me again, I'm going to shoot you. So I pulled Miskwii out. And remember, I'm tweaking. If you see the way I'm built, anybody who, it doesn't matter that part, but it does matter, because I'm not to be fucked with, play with, or step to, for real, in that time. I was going to dispatch his ass. I was going to empty him out, for real, for real. So he pulled his hand out where he said he had his little gun, and he didn't have anything. Even high, I'm going to get you down and have morals and principles. I don't fucking need no knife for you. Threw that knife down, and I engaged him, and he ran. He was scared I was going to beat the hell out of him, right? So police came, that whole story, with the rest of them, and that guy, that homeless person, that transient, it turned around on me. And, the police, they wanted to arrest me. So I told the police to shoot me. I thought right away I was going back to prison. I'd been out of prison for a while. I'd been fighting for my son, on and off of drugs, trying to get my story straight and stuff. And what had happened was they pulled that taser out, and they were scared. Police were scared, of course, because I was wild and I ain't had no clothes on except for my pants. And you see, I'm built, and my eyes. When I get serious, like I said, you don't matter to me until you matter to me, and they matter to me. Whoever the fuck, I was scared and angry. I started roaring to the sky and speaking in Arabic, to God about how he could let some cockroaches, set me up and send me to prison. So I was going to die there. I'm not dying in prison. That's my promise on this earth. I'm not dying in that building. I've been in there 10 years. You don't know shit about me or my psychological state. So they pulled the taser out. I quit, because all that's going to happen to you is just going to, and then I'm going to be in jail anyway. So eventually, I get charged with second degree assault for pulling Miskwii out. They changed the story out on me and shit, and they lied in some parts, but it don't matter, right? So eventually, after I bailed myself out, I sold Macadamia Iguan, my Black Feather, my Yukon, and I got out of jail, and I was out doing a lot of different things, but I stayed out of trouble pretty much for a whole year, trying to fight this case. They threatened me with 14 years. 14 years they threatened me because of my criminal history. I'm a serial bank robber. I'm a whole bunch of shit. I've done a lot of things, people, that I haven't been caught for. So, what happened was he ended up disappearing and shit. And fucking, they came at me with a deal, and they said, well, if you go to trial and he pops up somewhere in the system, they could subpoena him, to court or whatnot, and he can still testify that you pulled that knife out on him. You get 14 years. So they gave me a deal for a year probation, only a year. I took that shit, 5th degree, and it ain't no felony. I took it. And I've been on probation ever since. But it's only been recently, and I'm going to tell you something. This is where I'm going to confess something. It's only been recently, about 2 months ago, I remembered something. I remembered something very important, which changed my view on methamphetamine and my use, that I can manage it and handle it. You know what it was? Remember I told you I thought the fucker stole my phone, right? And that's what started the whole thing off? He stole my fucking phone, he dragged it off the Yukon, and he was telling all his stories, he's going to shoot me in blood. How the fuck did I call the police? They didn't even ask that when they came. I called the police with my fucking phone. I almost got shot. I could have killed him. If he would have pulled something out, he was close enough, I would have dispatched his ass. I've done it before. I'm not going to talk about that. I don't care about that shit. But he would have died there, and I would have been in prison for life. Because that bubble was all I cared about. It was the way that I put away my own pains from losing my son to that woman. Going to court and lying and doing all this shit. Those years were sober years with her. It's a fucking lie, and I can tell that tale too, but I'm not going to put my son's mother down and tell the exact tale. That's a shame on him. But it's a shame on her for what's happened, and that's changed now. That whole thing is over. The courts have seen the truth. They know the truth. She doesn't get no fucking relief that way anymore. I don't bother her. I'm in another city anyway. I haven't talked to that woman in years, but remember that. I called the fucking police with my fucking phone that I had said was stolen because I was high on methamphetamine. They arrested me, and I was talking about people in my fucking ceiling and all types of shit. And I was fucking out of it, delusional, crazy, vicious, and wild. Body full of fucking muscle, and with a big ass knife they were scared of. Miskwii is around 8 or 10 inches, 8 or 10 inches long, and I kept her sharp with a red bandana around her handle. You know what Miskwii means in Ojibwe? It's really Miskwii is the word, because Miskwii is just it's like a stem word. It means blood. You heard me say Miskwah Miguan or Misko Miguan or Miguan Misko or Miskwah. That means the feather is red feather. Well, Miskwii comes from Misko. It means blood. And it could have been mine shed that day with a bunch of bullets. And it could have been his too. I would have torn his guts out and littered the trees with him that day. I was so crazy. People know that about me. So methamphetamine can't kill you. If you've seen my neck, you guys see my pictures, my modeling pictures when I was doing that shit. You've seen those scars on my neck? Methamphetamine. Took a big meat cleaver, cut my own neck wide open. Delusional, psychotic. See Hannibal Lecter on my chest? Somebody asked about that. I ain't just no pretty boy, people. Killed 2 people in life. I've done a lot of things. That's just over here. There's a lot of shit I've done. Hurt a lot of people. Methamphetamine. There's a reason why, the courts looked at me a certain way. Like, yeah, Pac Redfeather, he is a danger and stuff. But I've went against the grain of everything I've been, and proved, that I'm not a violent person anymore. I've let people have their way for so long now. It's become a habit of mine. I don't argue. I don't fight. I get away. I get little because I do have goals that are ingrained in me that I can't erase. I can't put away. Allah put that there. Get your money, do put that there. Great Spirit put that there for me. My burden now is to serve my people, and it's by telling the truth about my own life and about what I see and what I go through and what I hear. There's a lot of shit. There's a lot of shit out here. There's a saying, that I actually made up. if all I know is what I see, and what I see is bullshit, you tell me what I'm supposed to be or what to believe. It's the truth. But I know more than what I know. If you can understand that, I know more than what I know. You know what you've experienced, right? I'm not just a product of my experiences. I'm more than that. Arizuke Wenini, Arizukan, is a sacred tale. Arizuke Wenini is a storyteller, but it's just not made up fantasies. I'm giving you Debwewin. I'm giving you sincere honesty and truth. Haq in Arabic, that's what I'm giving you. So, the phone. And that ain't the first time I told the police to shoot me up on a reservation. Did it right in front of the casino. Everybody knows that shit. They pulled that taser again out, and it didn't happen again because I'm smart and wise. Even I know what's going to happen with that taser. You ain't going to die. But I refuse to go to prison that way. But I'm not going to kill now an innocent police officer just doing his job. I can't do that. I'll be in the fire for that shit. No way. Everything I've ever done of good to be forfeited, so I'm good. I'd rather just walk my pains out and try to help who I can if they're put in my path, and that's it. I just want to tell that tale. Miskwii me go on indigenous cause. Gaza Gasquaj Jimmy called. Each Lake Band, Ojibwe, Pack Redfeather. Mama, I love you. I'm okay. Don't worry about me. I'll be alright. 50-50. 90 minutes,